Nun Ches, Oishchav Ches. We started this already, but this is where we're going to start today again. Hine ha-tzimtzum shehoy bein Sov, the tzimtzum that took place and affected in the Oyer Sov. What was the significance? What is the tzimtzum result? What did it do? Shenis'alem ha'oyer shebebchinas Ein Sof. That the oyer of the Bechina of Ein Sof was concealed. Again, I want to kind of refresh and bring back in this context the meaning of what Bechina. Bechina ha'oyer shebebchinas Ein Sof. Why not ha'oyer ha'Ein Sof? What is the name shebebchinas Ein Sof? Just to give us a very, very simple approach to understanding this expression. I mentioned many times, this is a kind of a scientific oddity, anomaly. The fact that you cannot destroy matter. And of course you can't destroy matter, but why? A pebble, why can't you destroy it? Put it in context of their thinking. If things develop themselves out of nothingness, why can't they revert back to nothingness? Why is if their existence is an accidental result of some kind of an occurrence? Why can't they revert back to nothingness? The basic presence is nothingness. The fact that they exist is a kind of a momentary change of their reality. The reason it cannot be destroyed is because it's a creation, a godly creation. Their base is a godly infinity. Therefore, everything has an element of Ein Sof. Everything is Ein Sof. The fact that it cannot be destroyed attests to the fact that it has an Ein Sof quality, principle. But it's not Bivchinas Ein Sof. It does not speak of the Ein Sof. It speaks expressing the Gvul element rather than the Ein Sof element. The Gvul element does not preclude there being a world. Like we say all the time, in the world, you build a table out of wood. The fact that the wood cannot be destroyed does not in any way interfere with you taking a little piece of wood and making a table. You cut it off from the big tree and make a little piece and make a table. But the oyer shebebchinas Ein Sof, oyer that actually speaks for Ein Sof, that precludes that and that interferes with there being a world. Like we said in our kind of a projected demonstration, we can't even demonstrate it properly, but that is what Ein Sof would have been. If the human being wants to put the cup down, and he, so to speak, is given the right to put things down whenever he wants, put it down, let it stand. So the whole phenomenon of a table is eliminated. What's a table for? So the Tzimtzum affected Shenisalim Ha'oyer Shebibchinas Ein Sof. Or that represents Inyan von Ein Sof. That its message is Ein Sof. V'nishar, and there remained Rak Bechinas Hashora Hanal. The Bechina Hashora, this Hashora, the projection for a worldly representation of the reality. The Hainu, which is his kalus or his filas agnuzois.
Which line is this?
Second line. His kalus or his filas agnuzois. The incorporation of the filas agnuzois, which were incorporated in the Ein Sof. Within the Ein Sof, there was this hasha'ara, this projection that you can ultimately, or it will ultimately, that the Inyan von Ein Sof will ultimately be represented in the world, in a worldly context, in a worldly manner, in a finite manner. This is the Esfiras Agnusis. And this is what remained after the Tzimtzum. Shezehu, which is Bechina HaYeser Acharoina Sheboin Ein Sof. The aspect of the Bechina HaYeser Acharoina, the most distant, the most final last of Ein Sof. In other words, it's still representative of Ein Sof, but it's a representative of Ein Sof in a very limited, in a very minute fashion, not in full impact. Just an allusion to it. Again, let us take our example of the table. We spoke many times. The phenomenon of a table is representative of the human spirit. But the human spirit is such that is not really world defined, and he stands aloof from the world. Okay, he demonstrated he doesn't work on 4, he works on 2 because he's off the world. He has to be in the world, but he is not captured by the world. He's not dependent on it. This thing that is not dependent, this is like relative to what this is like the Bechina. There's in Ein Sof. He is a true presence. He's not circumstance dependent. But this is what's called Bechina Acharoino Shebein Sof. In other words, even though he is now come down into a world, into a physical world, the Inyan of Ein Sof is still kind of reflected in his being. In that, the world is there to serve him, and he does not succumb to it. Like I said, he uses a table for his own purposes. And he needs a table because he has to have a sefer in front of him to learn. He is involved in his head, in his learning. So the world has to support him on the physical level. So he is Bechina Ein Sof. But this is the Bechina Acharoina Shebein Sof. That ultimately can be represented in a worldly fashion, in a manner that will not negate worldly presence.
Acharona
Last.
is as the root of the first.
No, last.
Last, okay. I'm
No, Achar.
A sukkah that's higher than 20 amos.
Huh?
A sukkah that's higher than 20 amos.
Wait. Come on.
I know, right? It doesn't work out for me.
The Gemara says that Oyesh Nivra B'Yem Nefshi Odem Marishi Bavi B'Yem Sefer Oyevat Sefer. He was able, with the life of Oyesh B'Yem Rishon, he was able to see from one end of the world to the other end of the world. And we explained this phenomenon of seeing from one end of the world to another end of the world. Besides that, yes, he has to have phenomenal eyesight and the light has to be very bright. But the light as we know it, a light that has has a source, a luminary, even as bright as the sun. To go from one end of the world to the other end of the world, there will be plenty of obstructions. And beyond the obstruction, you can't see. As strong as light is, if there is a wall in front, you can't see on the other side of the wall. What then does it mean that he was able to see from one end to, literally from one end of the world to the other? Because this light, it did not have a luminary. It did not come from a single source. It was a light that encompassed the whole world. And this light had to be concealed because this counter says the infant world. It's not. It doesn't have worldly design. If this light persists, the world is a non-entity. You don't have a worldly design. What happened as a result of concealing it? So I mentioned to you many times, the Ramban says, in concealing it, that same light was then imbued into the sun. As I've said many times, the sun, the light of the sun that you produce is not light in a normal sense of the word, that you sense that there is a light coming from a source. It encompasses the whole world, it changes the world from night to day. So it still has that same impact. But it has a worldly design. It has a source. It does not define worldliness. It's a phenomenal light, but it doesn't define worldliness. In the world, a light has to have a source, because naturally the world is dark. The world itself cannot be light. But this is what we're saying. The Tzimtzum affected that the oil share be bechinas ein sof, that the bechina being sof. It's not a question of intensity. The question of it has an ein sof quality. It defies world. And that was concealed. And what remained is hashara for the world, a redesign of it in a worldly context. His kalos as Shezeh bechina hayesh acharena shebein Yisrael, which is the bechina hayesh acharena, the very last bechina of Oyer Ein Sof. The very last bechina of Oyer Ein Sof is that you can actually capture it in a worldly context.
Could I bring that muscle back now?
No, it doesn't belong here.
Because it's all the same thing, really.
No, that doesn't belong here. Vehi bechina bechinas nekuda levad legabe Oyer Ein Sof bli gvul. Relative to the Oyer Ein Sof bli gvul, which is all encompassing and does not even recognize the from gvul, This is a nakuda. Just a point of reality. V'hi bechinas malchus shebein sof. This is the bechin of malchus shebein sof. Let's understand it for a moment. Nekuda levad gabe hoyer sof. This is what in our mashalim, the phenomenon of a table representing the infinite human spirit is just a point of it. It is in fact a very finite entity, and it is also, has a worldly design. To the extent, this is where we come on to the scientific view, to the worldly view. No, tables were developed not from human spirit. They developed accidentally. People learned, from experience, they saw that this was convenient, without realizing that this actually represents human spirit. As I pointed out many times, that if it were just accidentally developed, then a person would feel a little bit out of place, not himself sitting by a table. So a person using a screwdriver or a plier, that's not part of his makeup. He has to be conscious that he's using a plier. Sitting by a table is not conscious. This fits in his personality perfectly. His spirit. V'hi bechinas malchus shebein sof. And this is the begin of malchus shebein sof. What is malchus? The principle of malchus is, we know the expression in Gemara, ein melech b'lo ya'am. Malchus represents all the Esespheres. Ein sof. But it represents it in a malchus fashion. What's malchus fashion? Malchus fashion means that it has an effect. It has an effect. This is not for internal consumption of the melech. This is his effect upon his surrounding. It has the full impact of his personality, of his truth. The full impact, to the extent that if there is any kind of a less than full respect, a person, can lose his life. Because this is the real person, the real melech. But it is, so to speak, in a space and time melech. So this is the malchus shebein sof. This is the bechina yesh acharei shebein sof. And this is what remained after the tzimtzum. In other words, and just repeat it again, what remained after the tzimtzum is the potential for worldliness.
This is the first tzimtzum.
This is the first tzimtzum.
Potential here being hashara.
Yeah. Omnom, and here's where we get challenged. Omnom, however, although the truth is, Hanakuda Horishoino, the very first point. Shehi's his galus achar hatzimtzum, that began to surface after the tzimtzum. V'hainu, which would mean bechina harisheino shebe'as esfiris, the first bechina, the top bechina, the very first bechina of the esfiris. And what is the first bechina of esfiris? He bechina hachochma. This is the beginning of Chochmah. So there was a first tzimtzum where the Oyer Ein Sof has been. That's me?
Yeah, Shlomo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, shucks. Okay, I'll call in now.
Shlomo. Shlomo Bando. You there? Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess on the upside we made a video recording, but now everybody's pulling in. Okay, thank you.
This is all right.
Yes.
The first nekuna that started his galis to surface out after the tzimtzum, which means because the Ein Sof has been removed, now things on the worldly level, on the finite level, began to surface. Excuse me. What was the first bechina that surfaced? He bechinas hachochma. This is the bechina. This is the aspect of chochma. What is chochma? And why is chochma the first bechina to surface? Is it because chochma is so usurping, is so self-confident, it jumps out ahead of everything else? What's in chochma? Verkehrt, we say chochma is in from beetle. The beginning of chochma, that would be the first one to surface after the tzimtzum, is due to the fact that the opposite, because chochma has the least amount of worldly orientation. Chochma recognizes only the source, except it recognizes the source as an outsider, as an observer. But all it wants is the source. This is chochma. I mentioned recently the phenomenon of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was walking around the world, and they were all Evdei Avodah Zorah, and he was observing this wonderful world, and he says, "Yesh balabayis al birazu." Where is balabayis? Why do you care about Abayis? You don't like the mountain, you don't like the trees, you don't like what's going on. Enjoy your life. Avram said, no, yes, Balabayis, I need the Balabayis. And he couldn't find a place for himself until Balabayis said hello to him. Why? Because Mitzad Chochmah, he has to have he has to relate to the source, to the real thing. Chochmah is not interested in its own experience. It's interested in what the truth is about. And therefore he was going around looking for the Balabayis. The house is beautiful, but I need the Balabayis. And I mentioned many times in this context, he said the difference between a house and a home. And I think at this point we got a kind of a sense of this. To the extent that if you come into a house and the house is fully furnished and it actually has the appearance of being a lived-in house, so that one chair is this here and one chair is there, tablecloth is a little bit off center, whatever it is, a lived-in house. And then you find out that this is really a model house. Nobody ever lived here. And this whole phenomenon that you're observing is for show, is to demonstrate what it would mean, what it would look like if it lived there. You get turned off. You lose the sense that you're of the reality that you experienced when you first entered this house. But it's the same house. The answer is that the human being relates, it's not chokhmah. It's not looking for the experience, it's looking for what's going on, what is behind it. What is the truth? This is the pshat. That first surface is the Bechina HaChokhmah. Because Chokhmah is representative of its own source. Chokhmah does not speak of itself, it speaks of its source. Just this parenthesis then be off. V'zehu tzimtzum habeis. This is the second tzimtzum. Way back when, two pages ago, but we said that in the Maila there is two tzimtzumim, two steps. First there is the tzimtzum of the Ein Sof, and then between the tzimtzum and after that tzimtzum there's another tzimtzum. The first tzimtzum is that Ein Sof is removed. Second tzimtzum is that from the Hashara, B'koyach, from what remained, begin to surface individual spheres, rather than all spheres together. This is Sfiras Habeis, Tzimtzum Habeis, Li ez HaChokhmah b'china Sfira Protis b'fnei atzma. So the Chokhmah should be la la la